All right, let's try this again. I don't know what happened, so hopefully everybody gets back on. There's one person that came back. All right, I don't know what happened, so I think you mentioned pause deadlifts too much, and then Instagram decided to pause as well. All right, let's get this thing going.
Yeah, can you hear
Can you hear
me?
me?
Oh man, we did it.
Yes. All right.
We did it. Oh,
We're in
jeez.
business.
Sorry about that.
How many people does it take
Man,
to
that's
start an Instagram
painful.
live video?
We're in
That
there. We're
was
good.
painful. I don't know
Nothing.
what's going on. I don't know if my Wi-Fi was. It might have been my Wi-Fi connection. I just disconnected, and as soon as I did that, it was fine. So,
How you doing, man?
what's up, man? I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hanging in there. Things are weird, but luckily we get to still talk slash hang
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
some sort of way. So, how
Yeah,
you
we're
guys
good.
doing, man? New baby?
Let
We'll let the audience
tomorrow.
see. There's the new
Jay's sleeping
mom.
though.
All right,
Yeah,
and the new
he's
baby. How
knocked
about
out.
that? The the second coming of Paul Butler.
It's been awesome so far, man. He's been just such a sorry, my bad. But yeah, he's been such a blessing.
You're good.
He's so funny. Just like that littlest things he does is just like adorable and funny and cute. And I don't know. It's awesome, man. You wait because you and Anna are next. You know what I mean?
I know. Someday,
Yeah.
man. Someday soon, hopefully. What's been the coolest thing for you as a dad so far early
Um,
on?
really kind of just getting to be here and spend like all this time with him and like watching him like every second, every day. Like, we're watching him so much. I don't know. It's like hard to even tell that he's getting bigger, but he is. Um, but yeah, just like
Mm.
just this all this quality time so far. Like, if this COVID-19 wasn't going on, I'd be back out in California right now, and not getting this time. So I'm definitely grateful, cherishing
That's
the
very
time.
true. Yeah, that's a good point, man. I think it's a lot of people are trying to
Mm-hmm.
take like the good out of this. Like it sucks and it's terrible to see so many people
Mm-hmm.
like negatively impacted. Um, whether it's financially, personally, or just their actual lives. But I think it's good that people like you are finding the good in it. I mean, you're taking a situation where everything was completely
Mm-hmm.
put on pause, just like this video was, and you're taking it and running with it, and enjoying the time you have with your son now. That's huge. So um, it's it's a good segue, I think, into
Mm-hmm.
like introducing everything. So um, for some of the people here are watching and the people who watch later who have watched before kind of got like a rundown of what I'm doing, but I'm just trying to start a project. My world's strength and conditioning. My world is lifting heavy, moving fast, being healthy, and performing at an elite level for whatever sport you're
Mm-hmm.
in. That's the world I live in. Um, but we wouldn't have that or anything else if it wasn't for the world that Christ gave us. So I just wanted to bridge that gap between the need for physical strength and how that can be even more exacerbated basically through spiritual strength. So to me, there's no disconnect there. My faith is ingrained in my coaching and my training and who I am in day to day. So um, that's why I think you were a great guest for today because the project that I'm naming it is Steadfast Strength, and I think that's always just been a thing for me. It's like living something steadfast. I think Christ lived a steadfast life. I think his faith and his love and everything he endured, it personified what being steadfast is. And that's kind of how I've tried to live my life. And, you were there
Yeah.
for a good bit of that coming up. And I think you do a great example of showing what it really means to be steadfast. So, why don't you go ahead and just give a little bit of background on yourself, and kind of just tell us where you're at, and in a very short, brief wrap up, because you had a long journey, man.
Yeah.
Just tell us how you got there.
Yeah. So let's make it quick. Since high school, it's like I didn't get a lot of opportunity in high school. So it's hard for me to get like recruited or, get any looks by any college teams or anything. And then I don't know, I was just like a skinny kid, like just trying to find my way. I knew I had a dream. And then, I was just like, I couldn't get help or anything. And then I was really only getting recruited by like small D3 schools and stuff. But I just felt like I could play it, like Akron. So I ended up enrolling there, and then I tried out. I didn't make the team the first time. The second time I tried out, I made the team, but I made it as a defensive end position I'd never played before. I got pretty good at it, I felt like, but they needed a scout team tight end, and they asked me to play scout team tight end, and I mean, I lit them up. I lit the defense up every day, and I thought I did more than enough to like prove I deserve a scholarship and I should be playing tight end there. But instead, the spring ball came, and they moved me back to D end again. So I just kind of had it with that. It's like that just wasn't my calling. It's not D end. So I looked into transferring, and I started looking at like D2 schools in Pennsylvania and stuff. I ended up getting a few offers, which was nice because I didn't get anything out of high school. So it pretty much came down to Gannon and Cal, and I just felt like I had dreams to play pro football. As crazy as it sounded to everybody at the time, like that was my dreams, and like that was what Cal was known for.
Mm-hmm.
They were just putting guys in the league every year, and so I knew if that's what I really wanted to do, I felt like that was the best place for me to go. And so I went to Cal. My first 2 years were not easy. I was sitting behind a Texas Tech transfer. I was like Pennsylvania State Player of the Year, had all these crazy high school accolades, and they had moved him to tight end, and I was behind him for a couple years, and I just kept working and working. In the weight room on my own, mentally, on top of like the stuff we were doing with the coaches there and the strength stuff. And I don't know, I just kept working and trusting that I was going to beat this dude out. And then I finally beat him out. Going into my junior year, I was the #1 starting tight end. And then the very first catch of my junior year, got tackled, and my foot like dug into the ground wrong, and I blew out a few ligaments in my foot. And I was in total denial about it. I was like, I'm not done, not on the first catch. Like, I'm coming back in. So I tried to play on it. It was a Liz Frank injury, so I probably made it worse by playing on it. But I was just like in denial. Then I tried to recover and like rehab it for a few weeks. I wanted to get back for our rival games. I ended up getting cleared. I got strong enough to get cleared, but then I blew it out again in practice, and I just knew that was it for me. So I tried to get the medical red shirt. They denied me because of my previous 1 year at Akron. And so I really had my senior year, and then that's when, Coach Dunn came in. And yeah. I mean,
Gary.
I love playing for him, but he didn't throw me the ball, and that's just like the reality. Like I'd have discussions with him and be like, Coach, like, I'm trying, like I want the ball, like, but not trying to like make it in like a selfish manner. Like I never would put myself before the team, but like there'd become a point like we're blowing teams out by 40 points every game, and I still can't get a ball. Like, so I was lucky if I got one ball every game at my senior year. So I ended the senior year with 15 catches, and again, hard to get a look at NFL teams when you miss your whole junior year and then you only have 15 catches from a D2 school. So we had a pro day and everything. Only 3 teams came to our pro day. I didn't test well. I had all kinds of back issues. It's 20 degrees outside. I had to go outside and run a 40-yard dash. Just not a good go around for me. But I ended up getting a mini camp invite with the Steelers. And man, I went to that mini camp and I don't know, like it felt like I was at Akron again, just like fresh on the scout team. I felt like I was just lighting them up. You know, I felt like for sure I was the best tight end of the 3 tight ends that was there. But they ended up signing 2 of them and not me. I was the only one that wasn't signed. So then I went back home here in DuBois and Reynoldsville, and I went back working for my uncle at the Reynoldsville Water Sewage Authority. Worked back there for a lot of summers and winters. But like I had to, make do with what I had. And this whole time too, like, you get separated from football and everything, and like that becomes like your identity. And I'm sure you can relate as you kind of transitioned out of football. You kind of get lost like in who you are, and for me, like that just like that's all I felt like I was like as a football player. Like that's all I want to do, and everyone like was giving up on me. My friends were giving up on me. Everyone's telling me like quit chasing football, get a job. It's time to be done. You're not going. And I knew you're never gonna make like all that stuff. And I don't know. I had a lot of nights where I was just like alone with my thoughts and just like praying, man, and just like something was telling me that like just keep going, like just keep going. I don't even know how to explain it, but like not once did I ever think to myself I was gonna stop. Like I didn't care what anyone said to me. I was gonna keep going, and so it took about a year, and then I ended up playing in the spring league, and finally like I tore it up and people noticed, and it got me a mini camp invite with the Raiders, and I tore that mini camp up, and Coach Gruden noticed. He named me offensive mini camp or MVP of the mini camp on the offensive side, and I got signed right after that, and then I went into my rookie year. The last tight end had to beat out some guys from like Ohio State and Oregon, some big time schools, and here I am from little Cal, PA, year removed out of football, going against some really good talent. But I don't know. I just put it all out there, and I impressed our coaches. They put me on the practice squad, and then another team tried to get me during my rookie year, so they activated me just to keep me. They didn't want me going nowhere, which was a really good feeling in itself. And then last preseason was another rough go around for me. Just injury after injury after injury. Played through them all, but I played every game in the preseason, like 60, maybe 70%. Not good, not in good shape. And then I ended up breaking my hand in the last preseason game to top it off. So then I got the injury settlement and got to come home for a few months, which was another blessing in disguise because got to spend time with Vala and watch her like grow throughout her pregnancy and everything. And so I didn't miss too much there. And then I ended up getting picked back up by the Raiders on the practice squad. And then, so that's as far as like my football journey.
How do you you kind of alluded to it briefly about getting lost in that identity of football itself, and I can absolutely relate. We had a conversation with Phil Schallenberger, he's the head coach for the Karen baseball team out in Philly, specifically about identity and identity through Christ. And we talked about how it's so easy to get lost because for me, like, I transitioned out of football before I even got done with football. I found a love for the weight room more than I enjoyed my time on the field. And that's kind of where I placed my identity in things. And a lot like you, like we've always been faith-based, I think, in some way, shape, or form. And it's always been in our lives, but it wasn't the main point and main emphasis of how we live our lives. So it's really easy to get lost in that. And I'm glad you touched on that. So can you further go into how, you know, putting that faith in Christ and putting all that stress and all that worry and the doubt and the fear, and how you put that on him and you just surrendered all of that to him, and how that personifies what being
Yeah,
steadfast
I
is?
mean, there's 3 years there where I really went through a lot of rough things. And I don't know, there wasn't like, I didn't have anything to really lean on, especially that year I was out of football. It was all like a consecutive thing going into that. And then once that happened, it was just like, man, I thought it couldn't get worse. And then now here I am, like the lowest of like lows. And I got family turning on me and my friends turning on me, and like to make it even worse. And it's just like, man, like what's going on? Like, I just, he definitely like, that didn't help already with the whole identity thing, just, trying to figure myself out. But then, eventually when I would just sit, there and just like pray on it and just think about it, like, what am I going to do? I would, like a peace would almost like come over me and just be like, I got you. Like, just keep pushing, keep working. Like, I got you. And when I like found that like kind of peace, that's like what really helped me like keep going, and just keep leaning on God and keep leaning on Jesus. Cause like I found peace in trusting him, and that trusting he was going to get me to where I was going. And that's kind of what pulled me really through it, is just like putting all my trust into someone and like completely leaning on him, because really like no one else to like lean on. And so I mean, just the fact that like he was 100% there, like listening to me the whole time, like telling me just to keep going, like it's real, man. Like that was real. I felt it. And so like I'm just like grateful to be here now. And it's just crazy to think about, like how crazy like that little dream and how ridiculous it sounds, and what people think when you say like what you want to do, and he got me here. So I mean, I don't know, it's incredible.
That is incredible, man. And I'm glad you're sharing this, because, a lot of that time you're going through that, I was going through similar things on a different side of of the
Mm-hmm.
of the football world. But I mean, just touching in with you all those times, like it was never like you
Mm-hmm.
didn't have a pity party for yourself, if we would touch base and I'd just be like, hey man, how you doing? You're like, I'm fine, dude. Like, I just need a shot. And I think just having that commitment and that resolve and that faith, knowing that if you just do what he sets out in front of you, like you'll
Mm-hmm.
get to that point where you want to be. I think a lot of the times people assume that the path that Christ has for us is going to be, you know, rainbows and sunshine and, happy go lucky, and like, oh, if he's in my life, like everything's going to be just fine. And it couldn't be any further from the truth. And I think,
Mm-hmm.
again, like that's what it means to be steadfast, is knowing that there's going to be hills and there's going to be valleys. And when you're in those valleys, that he's setting you up to
Mm-hmm.
hit that top of the hill. And if you just put that faith and you put that trust in him, then
Yeah.
he'll get you to the top. It might not look, that path to get
Mm-hmm.
there might not look how you wanted it, but he's going to get you there. And like putting that faith and surrendering that, like everything and that worry to him, I think is what a lot of people are struggling with. And again, like I think you completely personify what it means to be steadfast. So I'm really happy that you
Yeah,
shared
man.
that. How how recently, how has God challenged you to be steadfast recently? So you've had a lot of life changes, man. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
guys are getting married soon, and you got a new beautiful baby boy, and now coronavirus is kind of
Mm-hmm.
messing up, spring training and possibly like, fall training camp. So, um, how has he really challenged you to be steadfast, and how are you handling that?
Yeah, I definitely feel like a physical challenge almost daily, just with what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to accomplish. Because I'm not like, I don't know. I'd also be lying if I said I was like satisfied with where I am too. Like, to me, it's like I haven't really, in my mind, like made it. Like, I haven't gotten on the field and really like shown everybody what I really can do. And I really feel like I have so much to put on the field, um, that I'm just like, I have this like relentless drive till I'm not going to stop until I feel like I've done it. So I feel like he challenges me in that physical aspect, just like as a motivation thing. And then spiritually, it's almost kind of like the same thing. You could always be better in your relationship with God and with Jesus, and that's a daily challenge in itself. You should want every day to like try to become closer and closer, and so that's what I'm every day really working on, trying to become closer and closer and growing in our relationship with Christ. And so I think both of them almost have similar platforms as far as challenges, but the reward is like so much greater, it's so worth it. So it's just like, just keep going, man. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm glad you touched on that, because again, like this is a perfect example of like of how being physically strong and spiritually strong, just they run a race parallel to one another. Um, you know, again, like we've talked about it before, um, especially with you like trying to perform at an elite level, being prepared for a very specific thing, such as an NFL season that could last anywhere from 16 to 20 games, not counting the preseason, and the fall training camp. So it's a
mm-hmm.
long race, man. So, and the same thing can be said about our faith, like you mentioned. So I think this is exactly what people need to understand, is you can find so much comparison between trying to prepare to be physically strong and spiritually strong, because you're going to find the same challenges. You're going to have days where things are tough. You're going to find days where things are awesome, and you're going to find days
Mm-hmm.
where you don't want to do it at all. So I think it's a perfect comparison. And at the same time, like, we our bodies are a gift. God gave us our bodies. That's where we hold our soul, and that's who owns it, is Him. And so again, connecting us and our faith to Him, we should want to embrace what He gave us, and that's us. Like, we are the gift to ourselves, when we were created in His image. So being able to take care of your body and make it stronger and making it healthier, and just making that a parallel race with your spiritual strength. I think that's what the main point is. Everybody needs to try to understand. So, especially with your training. So like we've been tapping into that a little bit, right? So, you got your home gym set up. You're in the same situation as everybody else. I think a lot of people don't understand that.
It's essential to
just because
it's essential.
There's all yeah,
Yeah.
it is essential to you. I think what a lot of people don't understand is that, whether you're a strength coach or whether you're an NFL athlete or an NBA athlete, like we're all in the same boat.
Right.
Like we can't go anywhere. Now obviously that's changing state by state, but here, like in Pennsylvania, like we can't go out and train, like we can't do things together. So, you're forced to get all your stuff at home and get your home gym set up and start preparing for your season ahead. So, what's that been like? I know we just kind of started, and we're going to get you going here on a nice little deal of a program. So why don't you just try to, what's your program been like?
So
how's it been lifting in the basement with your old stuff?
Honestly, like when the gyms like started shutting down, it was about the same time PJ was born. So like I hit a couple of weeks there where I didn't have weight equipment, I didn't have a gym, like I had like not a lot of like options, so I had to scramble together real quick. And thankfully Vala's dad had all this old weight like stuff, like the rack and everything, like up in like it was kind of like a storage room, so I didn't realize how much stuff was there. and it ended up being like a good amount of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so since then, I've just added, more weight, more plates, some like other like bands and like ball, like just like additional stuff. So I put together a nice little setup down there. And these last few weeks have been fun, like just getting back into it and like already like feeling like I'm surpassing like where I was at before PJ was born. And that's like a really reassuring feeling too, that like I'm all right. Like I didn't like lose too much or anything. And so yeah, the first couple of weeks I was just doing like a lot of like slow, eccentric, controlled movements, just trying to get like my form and everything back in. And then these last 2 weeks I've been just jacking up the weight and just working on my volume and just trying to get strong again. And getting back into some things I haven't done in a while. Like last night I deadlifted for the first time and almost since last summer. So that felt good getting back into just like, stuff, kind of got away from, especially like not having the ability to do everything I wanted to do. So I'm grateful for the setup I have down there. I have everything I need. Got cones, agility stuff. Val is my quarterback. She got a pretty good arm, so she's been helping me out as far as some ball drills and some stuff like that. So yeah,
That's big time, man. It's a
exactly.
family effort, right? And so I know you're a big fan. So what are you jamming out to when you're lifting right now?
Right now, it's August Burns Red. They just come out with the new album, Guardians. The whole album from start to finish. Every song is just like, it's tough to even decide like what even is like my favorite song, because like I hear one song like that's my favorite song, and then it's like another song and like shoot, like maybe not, like I don't even know. So definitely been jamming out to that. A lot of music like that. What's great about ABR is like they're Christian faith metal band, and I don't know, like they're just trying to help and reach out to, in every song, it tells a story of them helping or preaching or shedding light on an important issue. So that is also like cool in itself, that like almost worshiping at the same time as like you're throwing around some weights. So
Absolutely. I think that's something I definitely agree on. I try to exclusively lift to, some sort of like Christian music. So you got me started hooked on August Burns Red. I love this new album. And then, I definitely listen to guys like Crowder, Andy Mineo, Skillet, those kind of, I mean, I think it's, people don't understand, like, you can still worship in a time where like you don't think you're worshiping. I mean, like everything you do, whether it's lifting or just going to work, whatever your job is, you can do that and praise him at the same time. And I think that kind of, like we talked about how hard it is before to walk in that faith every single day. And that's definitely one way, something as simple as just listening to like music that is reflecting how you want to live your life, like while you work out or while you go for a walk. Something that simple can like help, encourage you to do it all the time. So how important or how vital do you think a band like August Burns Red, where it's the style of music you like, but at the same time, the message is impactful and meaningful to you? How important do you think that is for you?
Especially in that time where like I'm like down in the dumps, like not feeling good about myself, all that. Music is one thing I leaned on like a lot too, and like I grew up around this kind of music. My dad was in a rock band growing up, so it's been my whole life was like this kind of music. And then to find a band like August Burns Red that combines that kind of music with like a worship style, and you're sitting there like you're lost in your mind and you're just like trying to find yourself, and then you listen to something like that and those words like kind of resonate in your mind differently, and like it impacts you, like because you're almost like looking for something to like reinforce your mind to like in a positive manner. And so you find a band like them, just like every song talking, I guarantee you they have some kind of song that will relate to any kind of issue anybody's going through in some way. And you know, like the one song I told you about, the Check Out Lighthouse, that they have on this new album, it's like sheds light on like mental health awareness, and really brings light on that topic. And that's who Jake, the singer, like he's so passionate about like stuff like that and helping people who are lost and like, you know, mentally trying to help themselves. And like that's all those guys care about when you really like get to learn from them and stuff. So when you're seeing these messages go out and the people that affect, like it's a big community too that comes together, and just like you start feeling the love of God and everybody, and you just know like listening to that stuff is just like this is what I need right now, for sure.
Absolutely, man. That's awesome. I can't tell you like how much I can relate to that. Just times where you're not really sure what he's asking of you, or you know what he's testing you on, and something as simple as just putting on a song, whether it's from August Burns Red or turning on the radio to
Mm-hmm.
like K-Love or something like that. You know, he can speak to you through that. You know, like when people are putting the love of God into what they do, again, like something like music, for other people to hear, like he
Mm-hmm.
speaks to people through that. So again, like I think that's one thing we can try to encourage people to start doing in order to remain steadfast daily, because mostly
Mm-hmm.
everybody is going to listen to music. Um, is just choosing a music where there's purpose and
Mm-hmm.
there's love, and you know you can find a message that's meaningful to you. Because I think a lot of people, like, they have a stipulation of like Christian music is like this very like just not
Not screaming
pleasing
the
sound. I don't know
microphone.
like where the like yeah, I mean there's August Burns Red, and that's a metal band. There's extremely good like hip hop and rap. There's great like softer rock and pop, and like there's everything. So like no matter what style you like, I think just something as simple as like choosing
Mm-hmm.
choosing the right music, you know, whether you're going for a walk or lifting, like you can
Mm-hmm.
find the message in that. So I think that's super important for people to
Mm-hmm.
kind of like look into. So so some things I want to wrap up here, some things I want to ask you, and a couple of them would be
Mm-hmm.
like 2 or 3 part questions. But first one, what were the blessings in your life last week? Should be some of these should be fairly easy for
Um.
you.
Well, so like last week, obviously, like I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, I got a call just randomly, cut by Detroit. So I'm like, wow, like I didn't even get a chance to get there and do anything. Like I'm gone. Like, am I ever gonna play football again? Like I had all that running through my mind. So like, kind of goes back to like, you know, God challenging my steadfastness and like that regard. Um, but then the very next day, I found out on Twitter that I was claimed again by the Raiders. So I had this feeling, like a lot of emotions were going around through those couple days, and knowing that I'm going back to like where I started and I know there's people that believe in me, is an awesome feeling, and got me excited, and you know, just grateful for this opportunity again. And then and of course, like we ain't going anywhere. Like we're not going anywhere. I
Yeah.
might have to go to the store like once a week or something, but just that whole all this time we're getting to spend together under this house, and you know, you, when is everybody like gonna get this time again like this? You know, so we're definitely cherishing that and grateful for that
Absolutely,
and
man.
embracing it. Mm-hmm.
Good. Good. You kind of answered the next question. I was going to ask you like what you're grateful for right now, but it sounds like you just being able to
Mm-hmm.
spend time with Vala and PJ, like it sounds like that's
Yeah.
kind of what you're grateful for right now. So, so kind of like a 3-part question here. And you can choose to answer in any order that you want, but how can you, and what are some things you can do to improve your life, improve your relationship with God, and then improve your relationship with
Um,
others?
I think the most important thing you can do in this like steps of like improving your relationship with God is just talk to him more. Like even when you're like doing like, I don't know, random stuff, dishes, laundry. I don't know. Just try to always have a conversation with them, and just try to like, just be firm like in that action, and like just build that relationship every day. And that's, if you're talking to them every day, you're gonna become closer to them. If you're reading your Bible, and what's been awesome for me is like Vala is very, you know, very, into her faith. And so just to have a partner like her to motivate me too at the same time, like we're working together, and just growing with each other, and with God at the same time. So definitely just, I think it starts with definitely just talking more, and, and doing that in like the little things.
Hmm. How do you think you can improve your relationship with others around you?
Just continue to, give everyone my best like version of myself. I don't like to, I don't know. I feel like I don't walk around with any kind of ego or, anything. I always want to be as nice and polite and like caring.
She's shaking her head, yes.
Yeah. She was looking
She's
at
confirmed.
PJ.
She's
So.
confirming.
But I mean, that's just like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to like ever be remembered as like somebody that just like made everybody mad, or that people like couldn't stand, or that was always doing wrong by others. Like, I just want to, just be the best version of myself, and project that to others, and just give them the best version of me also. And I feel like if I'm acting any kind of like sour way, or, like, egotistic, that I'm not doing that. So then I'd be like almost letting myself down at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. I think those two things kind of answer the last question on how you can improve your life. So I think you kind of touched on all three of those things. So and then usually we kind of talk about I want to ask you guys, like, what are you doing to train right now? But I know what you're doing for training. So why don't you hit me with some goals of yours? What are your training goals right now? Are you looking for any certain PRs on some certain lifts or something that we can try to start targeting?
Yeah,
on?
I mean, I'm always like, I want to go in the season like stronger than I ever have. So like my squats, I want to be like regular barbell, like the normal deep squats. Like I want to be hitting over 5. I want to be deadlifting over 600. I don't ever see it happen because my arms are freaking go gadget arms, so I can't really bench a lot. But I would love to get to a 400-pound bench press. That, might take a little bit of work, but
we'll use these people here as the witness. We'll get you
that
all
sounds
those numbers,
good, man.
and then some. So
let's do it.
But all right, man. Well, I appreciate your time, buddy. And again, just man to man, as a good friend of yours for a long time, like, I want to say, like, I'm really proud of you, and thankful for that. There are people like you just putting their faith and surrendering everything to Christ, and letting other people know that it's okay to do that. And you're stronger for it when you do that too. So like I said, man, like I've seen you just push through a lot of mountains and get to that top, and I know you're not done. So I just want to say good job, man. And it's not
Well, I appreciate
unnoticed.
that, and
So
likewise, man. I think it's awesome what you're trying to put together here, and I think it's important that we try, like, in finding our identity, when we find our purpose, like, we're using it as a platform. So like I really can appreciate you using your platform to spread the word of Jesus, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to use my platform as well. So it's been awesome.
And there's that beautiful family. Look at that. That little stud right there. Awesome. I'm so happy for you guys. Stay safe, stay healthy. And then I'll be talking to you soon, man. So we'll get those PRs.
Sounds good, man.
Real
I
quick.
appreciate
How about
you
that?
having me, man. God bless you. Bye.
Buddy, you too.